Alright, so I wanted to do a video comparing Speak for Yourself versus the Touch Chat AAC apps. I originally was almost sure that I wanted to go with Speak for Yourself, and then the school had recommended Touch Chat with the WordPower vocabulary. So I wanted to kind of check both of them out and make sure that I wasn't missing anything and choosing the best option that was going to work for my son. We'll start with Touch Chat. Like I said, this is the WordPower 80 screen, and what you first notice is that there's no sound right now. That's only because it's the trial version. With the full version, obviously, it would say sound if I pushed buttons. So right now it doesn't, but that's only because it's the trial version. It was $10, which I think is reasonable for a trial version. The normal purchase price would be around $300 with the app, and then the in-app purchase for the WordPower vocabulary. That's an extra cost, so a total of $300. The first thing I noticed with the app itself was all these letters for the keyboard. It could be really helpful for someone that can spell, but Oliver cannot spell yet. He's only 3, and it will be at least another 2 or 3 years before he learns to spell words. So most of that screen is not something we can use. The blue words up here are predictable words, which is good if they're words that you would use. If they're not words that you would use, they're kind of useless. So again, it could be considered more wasted space or really helpful, just kind of depending on what your needs are. There's not a whole lot of pictures. I know it's hard to draw pictures for things like for or in or out or with, but it's not impossible. And for a child that's not reading yet, this can be a lot to remember. It's a category-based system, so everything's grouped by categories, which makes a lot of sense to adults who are organizing a large vocabulary set. It makes sense to group them by similarities. So I know that books is probably going to be with reading. And so if I go into groups, there's reading and books. That was simple enough. But a word like now, which category would that be under? Well, as an adult, again, I can probably assume it's going to be under time. And it is. There's now. But a child, especially one who may have learning difficulties or learning delays, may not be able to categorize it, especially more obscure things like now relating to time. It's only helpful if they're able to categorize that way. There's multiple categories that a word could go under. Colors, for example. I looked for a category for colors. There isn't one. I assume there would be. It's under shapes, so I found it. But this is the problem with categories. There's no one set way that things have to be. So it's a little bit of a guessing game to figure out which category the word you want might be under. There were some words that I wasn't able to find or wasn't able to make. I can make books by going to reading and selecting book and selecting S. That makes books. If I go to journal, I can select journals, but I can't do booking or journaling. It's just not there. There's no other option to do it. It might be in here, but again, it's not immediately obvious to me, and I've kind of fiddled around with this for the last hour or so. So I feel like if it was immediately obvious, I would have found it by now. There's S again, but it doesn't change. It doesn't give me any options to do booking or journaling or some of the other ing words that you might use. If I do play, see, now I can do playing. But some of the others I can't do ing. So that's one downfall that I found. Some words just are not possible. I was not able to find the words give, gave, take, make. Well, I'm sure they're in here, but where? I don't know. I mean, it's under a category, but which category is give under? I'm not real sure. There's no search feature that I've found. So if there was, I could just easily type in take, and it would show me where take is. Back to spelling. I can type in take and use it that way. There's take, or takes, taken, taker, takers. It doesn't bring up took, though. But it won't show me where in this app take might be. I'm still trying to guess where it might be. I just don't know where it would be. Maybe under actions. It could be an action. I'm not seeing it there either. There's this handy little arrow here that you can either push, or you can, if there's an arrow, you can swipe. Which is easy. If you've ever seen a young child with a iPad, you'll see that they naturally do this kind of thing with it anyway. But if there's not an arrow down there, it can lead to a lot of mishits. For instance, on the home screen, if I try to do that, it will bring me to one. Sometimes it will poke in these buttons, I've found, if there is not any more screens to go. It's not doing it now, but earlier I was getting a lot of mishits by doing that on the screen where I couldn't slide again. Predictable phrases. It will predict phrases. If I do I, it's going to change is to am, which changes to ready. And I actually found 8 different words that can be in this one square right here. It could be is, it could be am, it could be it changes to N''T for contraction, can't, will, it changes, or not will, it changes to won't. This one will change to will, sometimes, if I can get it. See, it can also be self. The words are moving around. It's difficult to remember. There's will. Where these words might be. And they can be in more than one place. I was looking for the word over, and I found out by pushing go, I can get over. And then, but if I want to say over without saying go before it, I found out I have to go here first, and there's over. So there's multiple ways to get to multiple words. And if you have multiple therapists helping your child, they could each be showing them a different way to find it, and that gets confusing, especially, again, dealing with a user, either a child or an adult with learning difficulties. They already have a device for some reason, and that reason is they have difficulty speaking anyway. Let's not make it harder than it has to be. So that was the major faults that I found with this TouchChat WordPower app. I would love to hear from you if this is something that you use and you found a workaround the problems that I've described. Because like I said, I want to make sure that I'm thoroughly thoroughly looking through something before disregarding it. Alright, we'll see you in a little bit.